The footsteps echoed again. Slow, firm, human. The boarding party froze, their lights cutting through the dim corridor. For a long moment no one breathed. Then the sound stopped. Only the faint hum of the ship's failing systems remained. Commander Rayon, the human officer leading the team, raised his hand in silence. His voice was calm but edged with tension. Stay together. No sudden moves. The mixed group, 3 humans, a tall reptilian guard from the Krath species and a slender scholar from the Ariani, formed a tight circle. Their lamps swept across the walls, revealing shadows dancing on old steel. Is it possible? Someone is alive? Whispered the Ariani, her long fingers gripping a data tablet. After decades? Rayon muttered. That's not possible. But deep down, even he wasn't certain. They advanced slowly toward the sound. Each step echoed like a drumbeat. The corridors were lined with sealed doors, their control panels still glowing faintly. A few opened with a hiss, revealing empty quarters, chairs tucked neatly under tables, folded blankets resting on bunks, half-written notes on desks. Everything felt lived in but abandoned. Then came another sound. This time not footsteps. A door clicked open ahead. Light spilled into the hallway, soft golden light warmer than the cold glow of their lamps. Ryan signaled to the others, and they approached. Weapons stayed low but ready. Inside, the room was larger than expected, a common hall. Tables were arranged as if a meal had been served recently. Plates rested in place, cups stood half-filled. The air smelled faintly fresh, not stale as one would expect after decades, but there were no people. The Krath guard hissed softly, his scaled crest rising. This is not natural. Food should have decayed, drinks should have dried, yet they remain as though untouched. The Ariani scholar trembled with fascination. Time. Something has bent time here. This is why the logs were broken. The ship has not lived the same years we have. Before more could be said, a figure stepped into the light from the far end of the hall. A human. He looked older, with silver streaks in his dark hair, but his posture was strong. His uniform was faded but intact. His eyes glowed faintly in the dim light, not in a way of power, but with a strange depth, like someone who had seen far more than he should. The boarding party froze. Identify yourself, Commander Rayon demanded. Voice steady. The man tilted his head, studying them. Then he spoke, his voice calm but carrying weight. You shouldn't be here. The ship is not ready to meet the galaxy. The words were clear, human English. But behind them was something else, an echo, as if another voice shadowed his. Rayon's heart raced. You are a member of the Starbound Hope crew? The man's lips curved faintly, almost a smile. We were crew, now we are something more. Before Rayon could respond, more figures appeared. Men and women, walking slowly into the hall from different doors. Their uniforms were marked with Earth's old insignias. Some looked aged, others younger, but all carried the same strange glow in their eyes. They moved like a single unit, silent yet connected, as if guided by an unseen rhythm. The Ariani scholar gasped. Impossible. They should all be long dead. One of the crew members, a woman with pale hair and steady eyes, stepped forward. Time does not flow the same way in the place we went. What was decades for you was different for us. The Krath guard shifted uneasily. What place? What world did you find? The woman's expression darkened. Not a world, a realm. A vast ocean of thought and light. It called to us when we drifted beyond the maps of your council. We did not crash, we did not starve. We were taken in. The crew moved closer, their steps echoing together. The boarding party instinctively stepped back, unease crawling into their bones. Commander Rayon kept his composure. If you're truly the crew of the Starbound Hope, then your families have been waiting for answers. Earth has waited. Where have you been? Why return now? The first man, the one with silver hair, spoke again. His eyes gleamed faintly. Because the galaxy is not ready for what comes. But Earth was chosen. We bring with us a gift, one entrusted only to humans. Those words sent ripples through the boarding party. The Ariani's jaw tightened and she tapped frantically at her data tablet, recording every sound. The Krath's grip on his weapon tightened. A gift? Rayon pressed cautiously. What kind of gift? The man shook his head slowly. Not yet. It is not time. But soon you will see. The ship carries it still. Protected. Waiting. The woman with pale hair turned to the visitors. You should leave. The council will not understand. They will demand what does not belong to them. Rayon glanced at his team. Fear and curiosity battled in every face. His training told him to retreat to report back. But something deeper urged him forward. We came for answers, he said firmly, and I can't leave without them. The silver-haired man studied him for a long moment. Then he sighed. Very well. We will show you a part of the truth. He motioned for them to follow. The crew of the Starbound Hope turned in unison, their movements too perfect, too synchronized. It was unsettling yet strangely graceful. The boarding party followed, nerves tight. They moved through corridors deeper into the ship. The lights brightened slightly as they passed, as though the vessel recognized them. The air itself seemed warmer, alive. At last, they reached a massive door near the center of the ship. Its surface was smooth, not like earth metal, but something older, more refined. Strange markings ran across it, glowing faintly. This is where it rests, the woman said quietly. The silver-haired man placed his hand on the door. The markings flared brighter, and the door began to open with a low hum. Inside, the room glowed with soft light. At its center stood something that did not belong to any known science. It was a construct, tall and elegant, shaped of both metal and something that looked alive. Its surface pulsed gently as if breathing. The boarding party stared in silence. What is that? Whispered the Ariani scholar, her voice trembling with awe. The silver-haired man turned to them, his expression calm yet heavy. This is what the galaxy will fear, and what humanity must protect. The room filled with silence, but it was not empty silence. It was the kind that carried weight, the kind that changed the course of history. The boarding party realized the truth in that moment. The Starbound Hope was not simply a lost ship. It was a vessel carrying something that could shift the balance of the galaxy itself. And humanity, once thought the youngest and weakest among the stars, had been chosen to guard it. The glow of the construct lit the chamber in soft waves. Its surface shifted gently, as if it breathed in rhythm with the humans standing around it. The boarding party stared in silence, their thoughts racing. Commander Rayon could feel the weight of history pressing down on him. For decades, Earth had searched for answers about the Starbound Hope. Now, those answers stood in front of him. Yet they raised even more questions. The silver-haired man, still calm, rested his hand on the strange construct. It responded to his touch with a quiet hum, as though recognizing him. This, he said softly, is the reason we survived. The reason we return now. The Ariani scholar's eyes widened, her long fingers trembling as she scribbled notes onto her tablet. This technology does not match anything in council records. It is not of human design, not even of known galactic design. Where did you find it? The pale-haired woman stepped forward, her voice even. We did not find it. It found us, the Krath guard let out a low hiss. Explain. The woman's gaze drifted to the construct, almost reverent. When our ship left known space, we encountered storms in the void. Gravity twisted, light bent. We were torn from our path and dragged into a realm beyond the stars. Time itself unraveled there. What felt like years for us may have been decades for you. Rayon frowned. A different dimension? The silver-haired man nodded. A place without planets, without suns. Only endless light and shadows. We should have died there. But something watched us. It took us in. It changed us. The boarding team exchanged uneasy glances. The pale-haired woman's voice softened. It spoke not with words, but with thought. It showed us visions. It gave us knowledge no council library contains. And it entrusted this construct to us, saying it must be carried back to Earth. Only Earth. The words hung heavy in the air. The Ariani's expression grew sharp. Why only Earth? Why not the council? Why not share such power with all? The silver-haired man's gaze shifted to her, his eyes deep with quiet certainty. Because it chose humanity. Not the council. Not the other species, humanity. The Krath guard's scaled brow furrowed. This is dangerous. A single world entrusted with such a thing could destabilize the balance of the galaxy. Commander Rayon held up a hand, steady but firm. One question at a time. You claim something beyond our galaxy gave you this, but why return now? Why after all these years? The silver-haired man's expression darkened. Because what it showed us is coming closer. A storm. Not of nature, not of fleets or armies, but of something greater, a force that devours suns and worlds, a hunger across the stars. It warned us that the galaxy will face this storm soon, and humanity must stand at the front of it. The chamber grew colder with his words. The boarding party stood silent, the hum of the construct filling the stillness. Rayon's chest tightened. "You're saying this thing is meant to help us fight it?" The woman nodded. "It is more than a weapon, more than a tool. It is alive in its own way. It bonds only with humans. That is why the Council must not take it. They would not understand it. They would fear it. They would try to tear it apart to study it, and in doing so destroy it." The Ariani bristled, her voice sharp. "You cannot decide such things for the galaxy. If this storm is real, it concerns every world, every species. Knowledge must be shared." The silver-haired man's eyes glowed faintly in the chamber's light. "Knowledge can be shared, but trust must be earned. The being that entrusted us with this made its choice. It chose Earth, not the Council." The Krath growled low in his throat. "This will ignite conflict. The other races will not allow humanity alone to carry such a burden." Rayan felt the truth in those words. He could already imagine the Council's response, debates, demands, perhaps even threats. Yet something deep inside told him the silver-haired man was right. If the construct truly bonded only with humans, then no other species could use it, no matter how much they wanted. Still, questions burned in his mind. "And what about you? You and the rest of the crew? What happened to you out there? You look changed." The pale-haired woman's eyes softened, but her voice carried a weight of distance. "We are changed. Time did not pass for us as it did for you. Our bodies aged, but slowly. Our minds were stretched, reshaped. We carry pieces of that realm within us now. We are human still, but not only human." Rayan studied them carefully. Their movements were too precise, their voices too calm, their eyes too knowing. They were not hostile, but there was something beyond, something that unsettled him. The Ariani whispered almost to herself. "They are living proof of contact with an intelligence beyond anything we have known." The silver-haired man turned to Rayan. "You must take this truth to Earth. Warn them. Prepare them. The storm cannot be stopped, but it can be faced, and humanity must be the one to lead." Rayan's throat felt dry. He wanted to argue, to question more, but deep down he sensed that the man spoke with conviction beyond his own. The Starbound Hope's crew had not returned by chance. They had returned because the galaxy's story was about to change. Before he could reply, the construct pulsed brighter. Its glow filled the chamber, bathing the walls in golden light. For a brief moment, Rayan felt something touch his mind. Not words, not images, but a sensation. A weight of responsibility. A whisper of trust. Then it faded. The pale-haired woman's voice cut through the silence. "It knows you. It knows your people. It will follow humanity, but the Council must never be allowed to claim it." "They will try, Commander. Be ready." The Krath's tail lashed the floor. "And if the Council demands it, as they surely will?" The silver-haired man's eyes met Rayan's. "Then humanity must choose where it stands, with the Council or with the future entrusted to them." The boarding party exchanged uneasy looks. The air was thick with unspoken tension. The Ariani's hands shook as she clutched her tablet, her mind already racing ahead to the Council chambers, where such revelations would shake foundations. Commander Rayan felt the burden settle heavy on his shoulders. He had come expecting to find an empty vessel, a ghost ship adrift in the stars. Instead, he had found survivors, changed, powerful, and bearing a gift that could alter the fate of the galaxy. The Starbound Hope was no longer just a lost ship. It was a messenger, and humanity was at the heart of the message. As they left the chamber, the hum of the construct followed them, steady and alive, like the heartbeat of something greater than any one world. Rayan knew one thing with certainty. Nothing would ever be the same again. The boarding party stood in the central chamber of the Starbound Hope, eyes fixed on the construct. It pulsed softly, as though alive, a rhythm that seemed almost like a heartbeat. Commander Rayan could feel the hum in his chest, a vibration that traveled through the soles of his boots. It was more than metal, more than machine. It was something else entirely. The silver-haired man stepped forward. "This is the gift, the thing the being entrusted to us, to humanity alone." The Ariani scholar took a cautious step closer, her data tablet forgotten in her hands. "It responds, 'To you? How?'" The pale-haired woman shook her head. Not to us anymore. We can guide it, but it is alive in a way you cannot imagine. It bonds with humans, not with aliens. That is why it must return to Earth under your people's care." Ryan's mind raced. The implications were staggering. This was no ordinary discovery, no simple technological advancement. It was alive, intelligent, powerful, and it chose humanity. "What does it do?" asked the Krathguard, voice low. "Is it a weapon?" The woman's gaze softened but remained firm. "It is not a weapon in the way you think. It does not destroy on command. It protects, it strengthens, it reveals knowledge, and it warns of danger." The silver-haired man gestured toward the construct. "Watch." The construct pulsed brighter, a warm light spreading across the chamber. Slowly, shapes began to form within its glow. Holographic images, but unlike any projector Rayon had ever seen. Stars shimmered. Galaxies rotated, and then suddenly entire systems seemed to collapse, devoured by invisible forces. The Ariani scholar gasped. What is that?" "The storm," the pale-haired woman said softly. "The being that entrusted this to us warned of it, a force that will sweep across the galaxy, consuming stars and worlds alike. The Council cannot stop it. Only humanity, with this construct, can hope to face it." Rayon's stomach twisted. The vision was terrifying. Entire worlds gone in moments. Civilizations erased like footprints in sand. And yet the construct pulsed steadily, calm and alive, as though it was preparing for what must come. The Krath growled low in his throat. "This is madness. A single species cannot bear such a burden. If the Council learns of this, they will demand control. They will not trust humans alone with it." The silver-haired man's eyes glimmered faintly. "That is why it must remain with Earth. The being that gave it to us saw the potential in humanity. Not power alone, but resilience, creativity, and the will to survive against impossible odds." Rayon's thoughts raced. Humanity had always been underestimated. Aliens had often seen humans as primitive, slow to evolve. And yet, here was proof that something beyond their understanding believed in humans, enough to entrust them with a gift powerful enough to change the fate of the galaxy. The pale-haired woman stepped closer to Rayon, her expression serious. "Commander, you must understand. This gift cannot be replicated, cannot be studied in the traditional way. It responds to your kind. It trusts your kind. If the Council or anyone else attempts to claim it, it may reject them. Or worse, it may vanish. Lost again beyond reach." The Ariani's fingers danced across her tablet, her voice trembling with urgency. "We cannot keep this secret. The Council must know. They will insist on oversight, regulation, study. This construct is too important." The silver-haired man shook his head. "Oversight will destroy it. Knowledge alone is not enough. Only humanity can wield it correctly. Only humanity can understand it." Rayon felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. He had come expecting to find answers, to uncover a lost ship. Instead, he had discovered a secret of unimaginable significance. And now he was the first human in decades to stand face to face with the power that could decide the survival of countless worlds. The construct pulsed again. Brighter this time. Rayon could feel a warmth radiating from it, a sense of reassurance. It was aware of his presence. It acknowledged him. And somehow, without words, it conveyed trust. The pale-haired woman spoke again. "It will follow you, Commander. When you return to Earth, it will go with you. You do not have to command it. It will respond to your leadership, to your people's intent. Protect it, learn from it, and prepare for what comes." The Krathguard's tail lashed the floor. "And what about the rest of the galaxy? If this storm is real, will humanity fight alone?" The silver-haired man's gaze hardened. "No species can fight it alone. But humans with this gift may guide others, may teach them, unite them. That is why it chose you." The chamber fell silent. The construct continued to pulse, a living presence that seemed to watch them all, not with hostility, but with expectation. Rayon stepped closer, careful not to touch it, yet feeling an invisible connection. The warmth in his chest grew stronger. He could sense its intelligence, its awareness. It was not a tool, not a weapon, not a machine. It was a being. The Ariani scholar whispered almost to herself. "This changes everything. Not just for Earth. For the galaxy." The silver-haired man nodded. "Yes, but it must start with Earth. Humanity must be the first to understand, to prepare. Others will follow if they survive the trials ahead." Rayan turned to the boarding party, his expression serious. We have a responsibility now, not just to our people, but to every world out there. This construct, this gift, it's not ours to command. It's ours to protect, to learn from, and to use wisely. We cannot fail. The pale-haired woman placed her hand lightly on Rayan's shoulder. You will not fail. That is why it chose you. That is why it chose humanity. You have the will to survive. The galaxy may doubt it, but the being that gave this to us does not. The construct pulsed brighter once more, as if affirming her words. Rayan could feel a strange energy flowing through the room, a rhythm that resonated with his own heartbeat. It was calm, powerful, alive. Then the silver-haired man spoke, his voice low and serious. Commander, one more thing. The storm is coming sooner than we anticipated. We do not know how quickly it will spread, or what it will consume first. Your journey back to Earth will not be simple. You will face obstacles, both natural and political. And the Council? The Council will demand answers. Rayan nodded, understanding the weight of the warning. We will face it. We will protect this gift, and we will prepare humanity for what is coming. The crew of the Starbound Hope watched quietly, their expressions calm, almost serene. They had lived in the realm beyond time. They had seen what no one else could. And now, they entrusted the future to the humans before them. The construct pulsed again, soft and steady, as if acknowledging Rayan's resolve. The warmth it radiated seemed to fill the room, reassuring, commanding, and alive all at once. Rayan took a deep breath. We leave tomorrow. We bring it home. The pale-haired woman nodded. And remember, Commander, the galaxy will not understand. Only humanity will. Protect it, honor it, and trust it as it trusts you. As the boarding party prepared to leave, Rayan took one last look at the chamber. The construct stood at the center, a silent guardian of the future, waiting, alive, pulsing with knowledge and purpose. He realized in that moment that the Starbound Hope's mission had never truly ended. It had only changed course. Humanity had been chosen not by chance but by something beyond comprehension, and now the fate of countless worlds rested on their shoulders. The boarding party left the chamber, the construct's glow fading gently behind them. But the warmth lingered, a reminder that they carried not just a piece of technology, but a living legacy of trust and hope. And as they prepared to return to Earth, the truth settled in Rayan's mind. The galaxy would soon know the name of humanity, and perhaps for the first time respect it. The journey back to Earth was not simple. The Starbound Hope, accompanied by the recovery fleet, moved slowly through space. Every jump through hyperspace felt heavier, as though the construct aboard exerted a subtle influence over the vessel. Commander Rayan could feel its presence, calm yet insistent, guiding them home. Inside the human flagship, the Council's communications had begun. Messages from alien worlds flowed in, questioning the purpose of the mission. What is aboard that ship? Asked envoys from the Ariani sectors. Why does it return now after decades? Demanded Krath representatives. Rumors spread quickly through galactic networks, igniting curiosity, suspicion, and fear. Rayan sat in the command room, staring at the soft glow of the construct projected in a containment field. It pulsed gently, almost like a living heartbeat. His officers watched, cautious yet fascinated. He understood the weight of the moment. Humanity had been entrusted with something powerful, something alive. And the galaxy would soon want to claim it for themselves. The Ariani scholar leaned closer, her fingers hovering above the console. Commander, the Council will not accept secrecy. They will demand inspection, oversight, and possibly force. They will see your species as holding too much power alone. Rayan nodded. I know, but this cannot fall into the wrong hands, not yet. Not until humanity understands it fully. The Krath guard growled softly. And if they insist? Then we defend it, Rayan said simply. His words carried authority, conviction. We protect what has been given to us. We cannot fail. The construct pulsed brighter as if affirming his decision. Its energy radiated warmth, reassuring, commanding, alive. Rayan could feel it connecting to him, to every human aboard, to the very purpose of their mission. When Earth finally appeared on the view screens, the fleet slowed. Orbiting satellites and communication arrays reached out immediately, eager for data, confirmation, and answers. The planet's surface buzzed with activity as Earth's leaders and media clamored for information. The return of the Starbound Hope was a story decades in the making, a legend come to life. Rayan addressed the council representatives aboard his flagship. We bring with us survivors and a gift. It is alive, intelligent, and bonded to humanity. It cannot be studied as a tool. It cannot be controlled by force. It responds only to our kind. There were murmurs among the representatives. Aliens whispered, their expressions uncertain. Humans around the table leaned forward, eager yet anxious. The weight of responsibility hung heavy in the air. From orbit, the construct pulsed, projecting faint images. Stars, planets, and systems rotated slowly, then collapsed, swallowed by unseen forces. The boarding party recognized the same storm they had seen aboard the Starbound Hope. Its scale was staggering, a cosmic threat beyond imagination. The council leaders leaned forward, alarm evident in their voices. This cannot be ignored. If true, it endangers every world. Rayan stood calm but firm. Exactly. And that is why it was entrusted to humanity. We must prepare first, understand it, and learn how to face it. The galaxy may follow, but only when we are ready. A murmur ran through the room. Some envoys bristled, unwilling to accept that humans alone could carry such responsibility. The Krath representative's tail lashed impatiently. The pale-haired woman from the Starbound Hope spoke, her voice carrying quiet authority. You must trust them. The being that gave this gift saw something in humanity others have not. It is not just their intelligence or courage. It is their resilience, their ability to survive when all seems lost. That is why it chose Earth. Rayan glanced at the construct. Its light pulsed in rhythm with his own heartbeat. For a moment he felt the weight of the galaxy on his shoulders, and yet a calm resolve followed. This was not merely technology. It was hope. Communication with the council continued, growing tense. Envoys demanded to examine the construct directly, to test it, to study it. Rayan stood firm. You will not touch it. You will not command it. It belongs to humanity until the time comes when it can be shared responsibly. That is the choice of the being that entrusted it to us. The council debated, voices rising. But then the construct pulsed again, projecting images beyond any argument. Stars flickered, then disappeared. Entire systems collapsed in seconds. The galactic storm was coming. Its path could be traced through the holographic projections, consuming everything in its wake. Silence fell. The implications were undeniable. Every species, every world faced unimaginable danger. And yet only humans had the gift capable of standing against it. Rayan turned to the council representatives, his voice firm and unwavering. You see now why it chose us. This is not a game of power. This is survival. Humanity was entrusted with the future because we can act when others hesitate. We can endure when others fail. And we will lead. The Krath guard hissed low, tension still high. If humans fail, countless worlds will be lost. That is not a burden to take lightly. Rayan nodded. I understand. But we will not fail. We must prepare, and then we will act. The galaxy must be ready, but first we must learn. The pale-haired woman stepped closer, her hand lightly brushing the containment field. Commander, the construct will respond to your leadership. It will protect, guide, and prepare your people. But you must remember, it is alive. It is not a weapon. It will follow, but only if it trusts your intent. Rayan placed a hand lightly on the glass. A warmth pulsed through him. It was reassurance. It was understanding. It was alive. Earth's leaders watching the live feed were struck silent. The magnitude of the situation became undeniable. Humanity, once considered a minor species among the stars, now held the key to survival. A mixture of awe, fear, and hope spread through the global command centers. In the following days, preparations began. Human scientists, engineers, and strategists worked alongside the Starbound Hope crew. Training programs were established. Communication protocols were set up to reach allied worlds. The construct remained central, pulsing with quiet intelligence, guiding, teaching, and revealing insights in ways humans were only beginning to understand. Meanwhile, the Council continued to monitor closely, their skepticism gradually giving way to recognition. They began to see what the humans already knew. The construct was not just a gift. It was a lifeline, and the storm was inevitable. Rayan stood on the observation deck of the flagship one evening, gazing at the stars. He could feel the construct's presence nearby, a quiet rhythm in the air. He thought of the crew of the Starbound Hope, changed by the realm beyond time, and of the unknown force approaching. The galaxy had been shaken by this return. and it would not recover until humanity acted. And yet he felt hope. Not arrogance, not fear, but hope. For the first time, he understood why the being had chosen humans, not because they were the strongest, fastest, or most advanced, but because they refused to give up, because they endured, because they could rise when all seemed lost. A soft hum filled the room. The construct pulsed brighter as if affirming his thoughts. Rayan smiled faintly. The storm was coming. The galaxy would face it, and humanity, Earth, would lead the way. The Starbound Hope's crew gathered behind him, their expressions calm yet resolved. They had seen beyond time, beyond reason, beyond fear, and now they had returned to guide humanity toward its destiny. The construct pulsed once more, brighter than ever. Its light filled the room, stretching beyond the vessel, reaching toward the stars. It was alive. It was powerful. It was hope itself. Rayan knew without a doubt that the galaxy had underestimated humanity for the last time. The storm would come. But humanity and their gift would stand, and the stars themselves would remember that Earth's people had been chosen to lead. The Starbound Hope and its survivors had returned, not just with answers, but with a future, one that the galaxy would never forget. The chambers of the Galactic Council stretched high above the marble floors of Arian Prime, a city that floated among the clouds of its gas-giant world. Golden light poured through crystal windows, bathing the gathered representatives in warmth. It was a place designed to inspire peace, but peace was fragile here. Words, not weapons, shaped the galaxy, and sometimes words were sharper than any blade. At the center of the chamber stood the circular floor where the council speaker opened every session. Around him, rows of seats climbed upward in a grand circle, filled with leaders from 100 species. Some wore armor, others robes, and some came in no clothing at all, their bodies sheathed in natural scales, fur, or shells. All of them looked down at one empty seat, the one marked with the crest of Earth. Humanity's representative was late. This was not unusual. The humans were never in a hurry. They often came last, calm and collected, as if time itself bent for them. To the impatient, it was arrogance. To those who knew better, it was strategy. Finally, the chamber doors opened. Ambassador Elias Varen entered, his dark cloak brushing the floor as he walked to his seat. His face was calm, his expression unreadable. Every council member turned their eyes on him, though most did not greet him warmly. Ambassador Varen, the speaker announced. The council is in session. Varen bowed slightly and sat. The discussion began with reports of rising unrest in the outer colonies. Pirate attacks had grown more frequent. Old rivalries between species threatened to flare again. Each representative spoke in turn, offering strategies or demands. But soon the focus shifted, as it always did, toward the one subject that ignited whispers: the humans. A scaled representative from the Dreth Confederacy leaned forward. His eyes glimmered with sharp amusement. This matter concerns war, yet once again, humanity sits in this chamber while refusing to contribute. Why should we listen to words from a species that has never shed blood for the Council's cause? A ripple of agreement spread across the chamber. Varen did not flinch. He had heard these words countless times. Another voice, soft but sharp, joined in. The Lyrae envoy, whose delicate form seemed woven from silk and glass, raised her thin hands. The humans live under a ban, do they not? They are forbidden from war. Such weakness has no place in the defense of the galaxy. The speaker rapped his staff on the floor. Order, but the chamber would not be silenced. Representatives shouted, some mocking, some demanding. They called humanity cowards, frail, too emotional to handle conflict. They said humans only offered food, medicine, and words, never fleets or soldiers. Varen finally stood. His voice carried, calm but firm, cutting through the noise. It is true, he said. Humanity is forbidden from war. This law has stood since before any of us joined the Council. You may laugh, you may scorn, but you do not understand. The ban was not punishment. It was protection. Murmurs filled the air. Protection for whom? For you, Varen continued. His eyes swept the chamber, meeting the gaze of every representative. For this galaxy. The chamber fell silent. Varen paused, letting his words sink in. He did not elaborate further. He knew they would demand answers, but he also knew no answer would satisfy them. Humanity's past was locked away, sealed by oath and memory. The Dreth representative hissed. Protection from you. Do you expect us to believe that humans pose a threat to the galaxy itself? Varian did not reply. He only sat again, his expression calm. The silence was louder than any argument. Outside the council chamber, the whispers grew louder. Across Arian Prime's floating city, in markets and academies, in military garrisons and spaceports, the story repeated. Humans were forbidden from war. Young races scoffed. To them, humans were fragile. Soft skin, weak muscles, no claws or scales, no natural armor. Their lifespan was short compared to many. How could such beings be dangerous? Others, the older species, did not scoff. They remembered fragments of history. They remembered the wars before the Council was born, wars that scarred worlds and erased civilizations. In the ruins of those wars, humanity had stood at the center. And after those wars, the ban had been written, but few spoke of it aloud. Some knowledge was too heavy to share. Ambassador Varian walked alone through the crystal corridors after the session ended. His steps echoed softly. Behind him, shadows of whispers followed. Coward. Weakling. Liars. He ignored them all. Reaching the balcony of the human embassy, he gazed out at the endless sea of clouds. Far above, the stars twinkled, silent witnesses to history. He thought of Earth, of its people who lived in peace, of children who grew up never knowing the fire of battle. That was the gift humanity gave itself and the galaxy. But peace was fragile. He could feel it. The unrest in the colonies was growing. War would come again, and when it did, the galaxy would push humanity. They would mock until the ban was lifted. Varian whispered to himself, though no one was there to hear. They do not know what they ask for. The first sparks of war lit in the weeks that followed. Skirmishes broke out in the fringe systems. Pirate fleets struck with unusual boldness. Refugees fled toward human space, begging for shelter. Humanity welcomed them as always. They gave food, medicine, and safe passage. They offered comfort, not weapons, and once again the galaxy scoffed. But somewhere in hidden corners of the Council archives, sealed records lay sleeping. Records of the time before the ban. Records of what happened when humanity went to war. The galaxy had forgotten, but memory has a way of returning.